At the time that I'm doing this review, which is the same day as Battle of Z, might I add, my subscription count is 188. I fear after I'm done with this review, my subscription count will be 42. Hello everybody, Tyrone the God 3 here, and welcome to the 8th Dragon Ball Z movie review. And I am completely scared right now because the movie we are reviewing is Dragon Ball Z Broly, the Legendary Super Saiyan. Now I know what you're thinking, Tyrone. Why are you scared? What, you don't like this movie? What? Okay, hold on. Gotta explain myself on this one. I feel a certain way about Broly that not a lot of other people are gonna agree with. I don't hate Broly. Here's how I feel about Broly in general. Now, with the addition of doing the timeline placement, the summary of the movie, and how I feel about the movie in general, I am going to also do a little bit more. I'm going to explain my thoughts on the character Broly himself, because I am aware that this particular villain is quite popular in the DBZ franchise, and me being a big fan of the DBZ franchise in general, I have some things to say about a villain that more or less I won't agree with everybody else on. So with that said, let's get this started. Movie 8. Basically, and this is we're back in the main timeline. The timeline in which Goku beats Frieza via turning Super Saiyan rather than using the Spirit Bomb, and Trunks warns Goku about the androids, and all of that fiasco happens. This movie takes place within the 9-day wait, or the 10-day wait, that Cell gives the Z Warriors to prepare for the Cell games. Now, I know what you're thinking, Tyrone. You honestly sit there and want me to believe that Cell sat idly by while this shit went down? Yes. Not Cell's problem, as far as we're concerned. And this whole fight takes place on the Earth, so yeah, not Cell's problem. This happens in the 9-day wait period. The 10-day wait period. I don't know why I keep calling it the 9-day. Anyway, this happens within the 10-day wait period that Cell gives the Z Warriors time to prepare for the tournament. It's the only time in which Gohan's there, and he's only turning Super Saiyan 1, which implies that he never turned Super Saiyan 2, and Goku's there, which means that he's cured from his heart virus, and he's mastered how to full power Super Saiyan. And Trunks' hair is longer in this movie too, which means that he was done with his training and turned Ascended Super Saiyan and came out of the hyperbolic time chamber along with Vegeta. Now, that we got the timeline out of the way. This movie is one of the easiest to put in the timeline, just simply for the fact that Cell gave that 10-day wait period. Like, if he didn't give that 10-day wait period, things would be very awkward in terms of when this movie took place. But thankfully, the 10-day wait period makes things a little bit easier. Cell basically just didn't bother messing with anybody for 10 days straight. So with that said, let's get to the review. The movie starts with, and you would also notice that if you watch the English version of this movie, the Funimation opening actually changes to a different type of song, like this really high-pumped battle guitar version of the original DBZ Funimation theme. So that's worthy to note. It shows that they were really amped for this one. But the movie basically begins with the South Galaxy being completely eradicated by a Super Saiyan, or at least that's what the narrator says, and King Kai is fearing the worst. The movie starts basically at that point with Goku and Chi-Chi headed to an interview. They're doing this interview to get Gohan into a particularly high-rated private school. And Goku is having a hard time adjusting to modern day life because, one, he doesn't like wearing a suit, and two, all of the answers he gives to Chi-Chi's practice questions are completely wrong. Like, fighting powerful opponents isn't the answer that the judges want to hear from him. They want to hear him say things like reading and sports, integrity, friendship, and all of that bullcrap, when Goku doesn't even really do follow those types of terms. Chi-Chi gets mad that Goku's basically playing around when he's supposed to be serious during this moment, and Goku's upset that everybody else is at the picnic that's in the park rather than him being at the picnic with them. So everybody's enjoying themselves at the picnic while Goku's stuck in the office doing the interview. And King Kai basically uses telepathy in order to tell Goku about the situation that's going on. And during the middle of the interview, Goku uses instant transmission and completely leaves the office. Meanwhile, King Kai tells Goku exactly what the situation is as far as the Super Saiyan, which is odd because the legendary Super Saiyan was supposed to be a status that was reserved for Goku, or at least a Super Saiyan that was in Legend that existed long before the whole crisis with Frieza, which means that it couldn't have been the main villain of this movie because Broly was born around the same time as Goku. Sorry, spoilers. Whoops. Anyway, I'll say it in the review anyway, so regardless, Goku senses out some of Broly's energy, or at least a trace of what Broly left behind after he destroyed some of the South Galaxy. Goku teleports to one of the abandoned planets of the South Galaxy and notices the destruction and the trace of damage that was left after. Meanwhile, the rest of the Z Warriors are at the park, and Vegeta's there for some odd reason. I say it's some odd reason because you would think with everybody having fun and enjoying themselves, Vegeta would be back at Capsule Corp training, but no, he's out at the park just chilling. It's kind of cool to see that Vegeta rests every now and then, though. Makes him seem a little bit more relatable. Well, anyway, because Master Roshi hasn't had his magazines in a while, he's really drunk because you gotta do something to spend your time. And he's also doing this cool little thing where he's balancing a bunch of plates on these cool little sticks. And it's cool to watch. And then while all of this is happening, Krillin's singing a very bad song, or at least he sounds bad singing it. And freaking a spaceship lands in the middle of the park, and these troops come out, and Vegeta notices it. And while all of this is happening, Krillin's still singing, by the way. It's kind of hilarious. And basically, one of the Saiyans comes out and talks to Vegeta. This Saiyan's name is Paragus. And I forgot to mention in a lot of the Dragon Ball Z movies with Saiyans in them, or basically two of them, that the Saiyans' names are based off vegetables. Obviously, if you're new to Dragon Ball Z, you probably wouldn't know that, but whatever. Vegeta's name is obviously Veggie, and then his brother Tarbo's Tubal, so Veggie Tarbo, whatever. And then Paragus' name is based off asparagus, and Goku's name Kakarot is based off carrot. There you go. And also, it's fun to note that when Paragus comes out and Vegeta is being introduced, and he's like, what's the meaning of this? Paragus basically tells Vegeta, hey, your lord, we've, made a new planet, Vegeta, in your honor to celebrate you being alive after Frieza and all of that bull crap. And basically, Vegeta has his interest caught, but Trunks gets in the way and says, you're not going to buy all this bull crap, are you? And Vegeta decides to go ahead and investigate it anyway. And then, this is weird. Paragus knows too much information about the Z Warriors for this movie's introduction. First of all, how did he know that Vegeta was even on planet Earth? Second of all, the minute Vegeta's about to go on the ship, Paragus says, of course, you're welcome to come too, Prince Trunks. How does he know who Trunks is? How does he know that Trunks is Vegeta's son? How does he know Trunks' name? Yeah, that's confusing. Anyway, Master Roshi wants to come aboard too because, he's drunk and he's being comical for this entire movie. And I will note that Master Roshi did a really good job in the comic relief era of this movie, or else this movie would have been very serious and dull. Anyway, due to that, Master Roshi ends up hitching a ride with the Gohan, Oolong, Krillin, and the rest. And Trunks decides to go in as well. And while they're headed to the new planet, Vegeta, they finally land there. Master Roshi's going over through a hangover, and it's hilarious. And while Paragus is telling Vegeta that we are also tracking the legendary Super Saiyan, this catches Vegeta's interest as well. Which, another thing, Vegeta is supposed to think that the legendary Super Saiyan was Goku. Like, that was the whole spiel that was going on during the Frieza saga. So why has this piqued Vegeta's curiosity again, which we've already confirmed who the Super Saiyan is? Anyway, while they're being introduced to Paragus' son, Broly, pun based off the vegetable broccoli, they're introduced to him and they're on the planet, and Trunks is still skeptical about things that are going on. Vegeta just got landed on new planet Vegeta, and now he immediately wants to go find this legendary Super Saiyan Broly so that he can destroy him so that he wouldn't be a threat to the new planet. So Vegeta is set to course in order to leave to another planet, and Trunks tries to stop him, but Vegeta's not listening to what Trunks is saying right now. He also decides to bring Broly with him, which they don't know that Broly's the legendary Super Saiyan just as of yet, because Broly's power has been severely suppressed to the point where he's at normal state and his power level's weaker than Paragus's. So while they're headed off, Trunks decides to go investigate along with Gohan and Krillin around the planet to see exactly what is this new planet Vegeta. And while they're on the investigation, they notice that a bunch of these little aliens known as the Shomoians are getting enslaved by a bunch of these warriors, and by these soldiers. And the soldiers are enslaving them, and one of them is voiced by Laura Bailey, is basically the one that speaks for all of them. And she's basically getting punished for not working hard enough. And Gohan comes in and knocks out one of the soldiers, but then that soldier ends up calling in more soldiers. And when all of the soldiers come to surround them, Krillin, Trunks, and Gohan are about to fight them. But Krillin somehow ends up scaring them off, showing off a bunch of his martial art attacks. Then, just as Krillin's showing off, he comically punches Goku just as he enters transmissions straight into the planet. And, yeah, that's kind of funny, I guess. But when Goku appears, Paragus notices all the commotion and ends up coming in as well. Paragus knows that Kakarot's Earth name is Goku, which, again, how does he know this? Don't ask me. I have no fucking clue. And then it seems like it's all serious. It's a standoff between Goku and Paragus. And then Paragus says, hey, would you guys like to come eat some dinner? And that, you know, our Goku, of course he's going to want some dinner, even though he just ate at King Kai's planet. So they go off to go eat dinner. Oh, and it's fun to note that a lot of there's some scenes from this movie that were uncut if you ended up getting the VHS version of this movie a long time ago, or if you watched it on Cartoon Network. Master Roshi can't really say the word hangover because in the Cartoon Network version because, you know, alcohol and crap. So that was said, and Oolong does this comical scene where he hits Master Roshi in the head with a hammer in order to cure him of his hangover. Pretty funny. Anyway, so they're all eating, and Paragus decides to go back into the lab in order to see the situation there. Vegeta ends up returning back from the planet because, you know, they failed to track the legendary Super Saiyan, and Vegeta's becoming impatient, so Paragus assures him that, hey, we're still searching and we'll find him before long. While everybody's eating, they're trying to figure out who exactly the legendary Super Saiyan is. They ask, is it Paragus? And all of these Shomoians who end up eating afterwards are like, no, it's not Paragus. Paragus was not strong enough to do it. And then Trunks concludes that it couldn't have been Broly because, you know, Broly's power as of now looks too weak in order for him to be the legendary Super Saiyan. So Trunks is wondering who the legendary Super Saiyan exactly is. While all of this is happening, Goku is just chilling, more or less, and sees Vegeta walking by. And says hi to Vegeta, and Vegeta's like, stay out of my way, Kakarot, you know, yada yada. And then Paragus walks by, whatever. And then Broly walks next to Goku, and something happens. Broly, when looking at Goku, starts to get a little angry. Okay, a lot angry. To the point where Paragus can barely control Broly using the amplifier that is on his hand. Goku is somehow curious by this, but not too curious once Broly's control gets back, under control. And Paragus pretty much ends up walking away afterwards. Also, it's fun to note that during the whole rescue the Shimoian slaves, one of the Shimoians points out that a lot of the things that they're doing are pointless because all they're doing right now is powering up the kingdom. But the rest of the planet is a barren wasteland. Pay attention to that because it'll be noted later in the review. Anyway, while all of that's going down, Paragus notices that Broly's control was getting out of hand when Broly was close to Goku, and he's wondering exactly why. He even goes off as to try to get this machine fixed, but it's not broken. It's just Broly was really enraged at that point. It's at this point that Broly does a flashback of exactly what's going on between in his relationship with Broly and the entire how their origin story. And it's a pretty good origin story. Basically, long story short, Broly and Goku were born around the same day. However, Broly sporting a power of 10,000 and Goku sporting a power level of 2. However, Goku was growing in power as he showed to be crying a lot, while Broly was getting disturbed by this, whatever, and ended up crying himself. It's a very weird thing to be angry about, but whatever. While this is happening, King Vegeta orders Broly to be executed while he's still a baby because he would prove to be too much of a threat to the entire Saiyan race if Broly were to grow up with a power level that's that high already. So, Paragus tries his damnedest in order to make sure that Broly doesn't get executed, but King Vegeta's like, alright, since you want to defend him so badly, you'll be executed with him, and I don't like arguing with people. So King Vegeta ends up using the execution blast on Paragus, and he ends up getting thrown away with Broly like trash. Oh, and Broly got stabbed in the stomach when he was a baby. Note that, it's important. So while they're thrown off on around the same day, this is the exact same day apparently, that Frieza decides to use the supernova or death ball in order to destroy Planet Vegeta, and Paragus and Broly would have been dead if it weren't for the fact that Broly could somehow live through that stab in the stomach while still being a kid and makes a force field and flies Paragus and himself out of there. Meanwhile, while Broly's growing up, Paragus tries to get him under control because Broly's power is just way too damn high. And it even gets to a point where Broly's so out of control he ends up punching Paragus during the middle of his destruction reign and knocks one of Paragus's eyes clean out. That's why Paragus has a scar on his eye in the first place. So anyway, while that's going on, he also gets the amplification device in order to put Broly under control. When he tries to do that, he tries to hook the amplification device onto Broly's head, and it was successful because Paragus almost died because Broly was about to kill him. So then Paragus thought, okay, I can use Broly's power to wipe out planets and use them to my advantage, and I will make a plan in order to plot against King Vegeta. But since King Vegeta's dead, I'll plot against the next best thing, his son. And that's basically the origin of the entire fiasco of what's going on. Meanwhile, Broly's losing more and more control of himself overnight, and Broly decides, screw it, I'm going to go kill Goku now. So Broly ends up turning Super Saiyan, and take note that Broly's hair, while he's at Super Saiyan, is this greenish blue tint. Pay attention, it's important shit. He ends up attacking Goku in the middle of the night, which takes everybody by surprise, and Goku's trying to fight him off and is like, hey, what's going on? And this is a deleted scene in the if you're watching the Cartoon Network or VHS version, because while Broly's trying to kill him, Goku ends up punching him in the face, and Broly licks the blood off of his face, and Goku's like, ew, that's completely unnecessary, disgusting. Yeah, that's not in the other versions of the movie, just the uncut version. So anyway, they're fighting, and Goku recognizes, hey, this is the power level I sensed from before. Broly is the legendary Super Saiyan. So while that's going on, Paragus just barely manages to come in and take control of Broly to the point where Broly's calmed down. However, the morning after, Vegeta has officially lost patience and decides to leave the planet so that he can be in search for the legendary Super Saiyan again. However, Paragus is trying everything he can to stop him so that his plan can go into action. Goku basically calls Vegeta out and says, hey, you don't even have to search anymore. Broly's right here. He's the legendary Super Saiyan. Vegeta's not quite convinced yet until Trunks, Gohan, and Krillin come in and explain, along with the Shimoians, that the entire planet Vegeta is new planet Vegeta is a desert wasteland with only the kingdom being the thing that has power. And then the Shimoians point out that Broly is the one that destroyed their home planet, or wrecked their home planet, because it's still around. Pay attention, that's important too. And then Broly basically starts to get more and more angry because he's this close to Goku, by the way. And then Vegeta finally realizes, hey, I've been tricked. So then Paragus reveals that he chose this planet in particular because it's about to be blown up by Comet Komori, a giant comet that's going to impact the planet in a few hours. And he's like, basically like, yeah, I tricked you, Vegeta, because I hate you, my son hates you, we both hate your father for what he did to us, and now we're getting our ultimate revenge, and then we're going to take over the galaxy afterwards. Vegeta gets pissed and tries to attack Broly while he's powering up, but that's not doing any good. And then Broly becomes uncontrollable now, which means that Paragus has no more control of Broly, and Broly finally achieves legendary Super Saiyan status. While that's happening, Trunks and Gohan help Goku in order to fight off against Broly. However, Broly's so damn strong that it's not doing any good. And, yeah, this isn't doing any good at all, and we reach these scenes where, how do I put this? It was just like in Super Android 13, where no matter how strong Goku and his friends try, they're not doing a dent to the main villain, and they're attacking and attacking and attacking, and it's no good. And this is weird. Vegeta was so interested in order to find the legendary Super Saiyan and kill him, but then the minute he actually sees Broly transform into the legendary Super Saiyan, Vegeta has lost all interest in to fight him, period, which is weird. So what ends up happening is that while Trunks, Goku, and Gohan are fighting against legendary Super Saiyan Broly, the Shimoians and Krillin and Oolong and Master Roshi fall in, and Master Roshi comically is like, hey, I thought you guys could use some help, and he ends up buffing himself up, and but instead of fighting, he actually like does these comical mask things, and Oolong pushes them out of the way and is like, hey, then the show's at 11, sorry. And it's funny. It's a very funny gag. Like I said, Master Roshi did a good job being comic relief, or else this movie would have been stale. So, after that, they, Goku and the others are prepared to fight him in round 2, but to no avail. They're all getting their asses whooped, and Vegeta's too stunned to do anything right now. This movie doesn't do Vegeta a lot of justice, for real, until like towards the end, kinda. Because, yeah, Vegeta was not very good in this movie. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. This is Vegeta's least desirable film to be in, because he didn't really, he didn't shine that well. Anyway, Paragus is laughing at Vegeta for all the shit that's going down, but he decides to go off and fly off, because, you know, he's not going to stick around for the comet to come and destroy the planet. And while that's happening, Goku, Gohan, and Trunks are getting their asses whooped. And when it seems like Gohan's about to die in this fight, Piccolo comes in to save him as usual. And Piccolo ends up feeding the senzu bean to Goku, Gohan, and Trunks so that they can all get back up and get back to the fight. Piccolo apparently knows about all of what's going down because he overheard Goku and King Kai talking about the legendary Super Saiyan beforehand and was able to sense out the energy all the way from the lookout. So they all 4 of them decide to fight, but they're losing as well. And then, while that's happening, Piccolo notices that Vegeta's not fighting, and he's like, hey, what are you doing? Aren't you supposed to be fighting with the rest of us? And Vegeta's like, I can't fight with you. You all are fighting a fruitless battle. He's the legendary Super Saiyan, and Piccolo just doesn't want to hear that crap. And yeah, like I said, Vegeta was very emo in this movie. It was kind of weird. And then Piccolo was like, hey, look, if you don't want to fight, leave it to the real fighters, and throws Vegeta to the wayside. And then Goku and the others are all fighting, and they're getting their asses whooped still. And then Vegeta just gets mad and is like, alright, I'll end up fighting as well. I'm the Prince of all Saiyans. That includes Broly. So Vegeta tries to fight Broly, but to no avail, he gets his ass whooped too. So that scene didn't really make much of a difference, other than the fact that Vegeta's joined the fray. Piccolo then comes up with the idea that, hey, even though we all individually got our asses whooped by Broly, if we all put our power into Goku, then that'll make a difference. Yeah, it's very weird. So they decide to channel their energy into Goku. Oh, but while this is happening, Paragus is deciding to leave, but Broly ends up catching him about to leave. And then Broly ends up squishing the entire capsule ship that Paragus was in, and throws it ironically towards Comet Komori, the thing that Paragus was trying to avoid. And Broly's like, did he really think I was going to die just because this planet was going to be destroyed? Oh, and it's also, I'm going to rewind for a minute and note that one of my favorite scenes of Broly, just in particular, is this scene where he's about to blast the Shimoians. He's like looking at the planet that they're looking at. He blasts towards the Shimoians, and the blast makes a U-turn, doesn't hit the Shimoians, and blows up their planet, the Shimoian planet. And that was pretty funny. I just thought it was funny because after that he says, oops, did I just blow it up? And it was so like misleading. It was great. It really shows how cynical Broly can be. Anyway, back to the main fight at hand. Goku, refusing to go down, decides to keep going up, and he's ready to fight Broly yet again. But you know, he gets more power thanks to Gohan, Trunks, and Piccolo, but Vegeta is being difficult and not giving him any energy. And Vegeta's like, well, why should I give Goku the energy? He's a low-class warrior. And it takes all of this convincing before Vegeta says, alright, fine, screw it, here's my energy. So then Vegeta finally gives Goku some power, and that gives Goku enough energy to fight Broly back. The comet's like a second away from blowing up the planet too, by the way. And Goku ends up, the fight pretty much ends with Broly about to punch Goku and Goku about to punch Broly, but Goku has more power now, so he punches Broly, but he punches Broly particularly in the spot that he got stabbed in when he was a baby, so it's sort of a weak spot, I guess. Broly ends up getting hit and ends up hitting the comet himself while the planet explodes. Then Goku instant transmissions everybody to this spaceship, and they end up landing back on Earth. And comically, when Goku ends up teleporting himself and Gohan back to Chi-Chi, Chi-Chi's pissed because the interview's over, and Goku answers the questions that he was supposed to answer. My favorite hobbies are reading and sports. They end up laughing, and Chi-Chi ends up fainting, and, you know, the movie's over. Now, what I'm going to do, because I didn't think that the summary as well as my beginning spiel would last that long, what I'm going to go ahead and do is put this as part 1 and then make a part 2 explaining my feelings of the movie and my feelings of Broly himself, because I'm going to go on quite a long spiel here. So if you just wanted to hear the summary of the movie and the timeline placement, then this is the part you're looking for. But if you want to hear my overall thoughts and my feelings on Broly himself, then click this little thing right here for part 2. It's going to be at the bottom. So yeah, look forward to that. Tyrone the God 3 sorta out.